Big Brother star Ava Pearl has been shunned by her former houseguests after she ragefully ranted about another houseguest. This is something Ava did not expect to happen. She did not think the cameras caught what she said. However, they did, and now she is being isolated from the group. Fans are not shocked to hear this, as she said some pretty mean stuff. Keep reading to find out more about this situation. Big Brother Season 27 has come to an end. However, fans were shocked all season long. Ashley ended up winning it all. The houseguests were competing in the competition show in Los Angeles, California. However, things happened during the entire season that were shocking. There were the obvious feuds and such. However, Vince and Morgan, along with Riley and Catherine, had showmances that no one approved of. Vince had a girlfriend for 7 years when entering the house. Fans thought Riley was toxic and controlling towards Catherine. A lot was going the way fans least expected. However, it is all over now, and the cast is trying to get back to their lives. Ava Pearl has been shunned by her former houseguests, and they do not want anything to do with her. This happened after she went on a rant about Rachel Riley, who was loved in the house. An insider revealed what happened. Ava has essentially been blacklisted from the rest of the finalist group. Big Brother Season 27 had been messy in ways even the production team couldn't script. There were alliances that crumbled at the slightest touch, romances that flamed and fizzled, and an undercurrent of old grudges resurfacing like phantom tides. When Ashley took the final head-to-head and lifted the trophy, the cheers were thunderous. Cameras followed the finalists as they stumbled into the after-party in Los Angeles, faces already beginning the slow task of reintegrating into real life. But the cameras had also captured things no one wanted to remember. Ava's downfall did not hinge on a strategic blunder or a betrayal in the game. It was a private lasting moment made public by the one thing every houseguest feared, the dungeon of candid confessions. In a rare lull between competitions, with a cigarette sarcastically dangling from a forgotten pack and wine cups circled like mini altars, she had exploded. The eruption was pointed, personal and merciless, aimed at Rachel Riley, whose house presence had been, to many, the glue and the glitter. Ava had exclaimed the words so loudly the mic clipped them and the cameras, always hungry, caught the rest. "You know what? She's a BCH, Ava had said in a voice draped in contempt. A CT. Always has to be the center, always playing the saint." She tried to laugh it off later, a brittle chuckle that sounded suspiciously like desperation, but footage does not forgive. It frames the moment in high definition and hands it to the world. The plot of solidarity in the house is a fragile thing. People think there's an unspoken bond after living together. There is, but it's porous and quick to close up when blood is smelled. Rachel, for all her flaws and fans, had a set of friends who loved her like family. They had watched her weather storms before, they'd been there when game day tricks and whispered secrets threatened her. Those bonds hardened into something fierce the night Ava's rant leaked like a thin, toxic fog. An insider, someone who had been in the inner circle and cared to speak in the raw honesty the tabloids relish, told reporters what the cameras couldn't. Ava has essentially been blacklisted from the rest of the finalist group. They want nothing to do with her after calling Rachel a BCH and a CT. Ava didn't think cameras picked up on that, but she got a rude awakening outside of the house. That moment, the insider said, became a lever. People who had flirted with reconciliation rewound the footage, watched the cadence of Ava's anger, and felt betrayed in a way that had nothing to do with alliances or jury votes. For them it was about decency, about respect, and about a woman they adored being publicly denigrated in a term they now guarded like a family heirloom. Rachel's supporters coalesced. In the rage-laden echo of Lana Del Rey tracks and the stale smell of club cologne, the cast turned their backs on Ava. The after-party should have been a place for champagne and wounded laughter. Instead, it became an ambush of empty chairs where Ava expected hugs. Morgan and Vince were in the corner, conspiratorial and closed off. Riley and Catherine whispered with faces turned away. Even contestants who had been amicable toward Ava during the game were distant, their conversations brief and clipped when she came near. She looked around the room as though a cold draft had snuck under the door and was the only person cold enough to notice. She had arrived in Los Angeles with a suitcase of illusions. In the house she had been bold, fast-talking, a person who saw a problem and threw the heaviest thing at it first. That strategy won her fans and enemies in equal measure. But outside, away from the microclimates of the house, her words weighed more. They had consequences. It was Rachel's husband, in this story world of gossip and rumor, who reportedly nudged the group into action. He didn't make a scene, He didn't march onto a stage and issue an ultimatum. He simply reminded people of boundaries in private conversations, and a trickle of affirmation turned into a tide. "We're not going to normalize this," he told a few friends, quietly but with the kind of conviction that closes discussions. The message traveled, as these things do, in the form of shared texts and late-night phone calls. "We stand with Rachel" became a casual banner under which a group formed. Ava's response to the cold shoulder was bewilderment. She admitted later, in the kind of contrite confessionals and interviews every post-show must have, that she hadn't realized the cameras had caught her diatribe. "I thought I said it in confidence," she explained, voice small and raw. "I thought it was off, no one meant to be mean. We were all tired. It came out wrong." But apologies are an art form, and when they arrive after they have been broadcast and dissected, the effort often looks like a script. Ava tried to reach out. She sent messages that read like small, fragile bridges. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean it like that. I was frustrated, I lost my cool, I want to talk," but they were unopened. The group had closed ranks in the same decisive way the House did when nominations were named. In the public square of social media, reactions were split but mostly unforgiving. There are always those who will defend the incendiary figure for the entertainment they provided. There are always those who will crucify them for the lack of remorse they perceive. Ava's fanbase was a fracturing thing. Some insisted she was the victim of selective editing, of producers who built arcs out of fragments. Others, now watching the full clips and hearing the tone, felt the sting of her words and could no longer reconcile them with the person they had cheerfully retweeted. She hadn't intended to leave the after-party early. The plan had been to drink, to smile, to let the night dilute whatever remained of her fears. But the silence had teeth. Friends who should have hugged her didn't. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this update, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Reality Radar for more Big Brother and reality TV news. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update.